The alarm rang at 5:30 a.m., just like it had for the past 27 years. David Harper lay still, staring at the ceiling fan as it spun lazily above him. His body already felt tired, even though the day had barely begun. The routine was familiar too familiar: shower, coffee, traffic, a job that paid the bills but drained the soul. That morning, something felt different, not dramatic, not loud, just heavy. David swung his legs off the bed and sat there longer than usual. On the nightstand was a framed photo of his younger self, wide smile, hopeful eyes, taken the day he graduated college. He remembered how sure he'd been back then. How convinced he was that life would mean something more than just survival. Somewhere along the way, that certainty had quietly disappeared. Downstairs, his coffee maker sputtered to life, the same mug, the same taste, the same silence. His phone buzzed with an email from work, another meeting about targets, numbers, and realignment. Words that meant nothing but longer hours. David stared at the screen. For the first time, he didn't feel angry. He felt empty. He stepped outside onto the porch. The sun was just beginning to rise, painting the sky with soft oranges and blues. A cool breeze brushed his face. The world, it seemed, was waking up with intention, except him. That's when the thought arrived. What if today wasn't about proving anything to anyone else? The idea startled him. He had spent his entire adult life choosing responsibility over desire, safety over curiosity, expectations over dreams. Every decision was about what he should do, rarely about what he wanted to do. David looked at his car keys in his hand. He didn't put them in his pocket. Instead, he sat back down on the porch steps. Minutes passed, then more. The sun climbed higher. For the first time in decades, David was late, and he didn't rush to fix it. He thought about the things that once made him feel alive. Writing, for one. He used to fill notebooks with short stories, reflections, ideas about people and purpose. He stopped after a professor once told him it was impractical. Life, after all, required practicality. Or so he'd believed. Inside the house, those old notebooks still sat in a dusty box in the hall closet. David stood, walked inside, and pulled the box out. His hands trembled slightly as he opened it. Page after page of thoughts from a younger man, raw, curious, searching. The words weren't perfect, but they were honest. Reading them felt like meeting an old friend he had abandoned. Tears surprised him, not from sadness alone but from recognition. "I forgot you," he whispered to himself. At 8:45 a.m., his phone rang. His manager. David let it go to voicemail. At 9 o'clock, another call. Then another. David took a deep breath and did something he had never done before. He turned the phone off. That morning, David didn't go to work. He didn't send explanations, he didn't ask permission. Instead, he sat at the dining table, opened a notebook, and began to write. At first, the words came slowly. Then faster. Memories, observations, lessons life had taught him the hard way. He wrote about fear, about time, about how easy it is to lose yourself while trying to be dependable. Hours passed unnoticed. For the first time in years, David felt focused, not pressured, not rushed. Just present. That afternoon, he walked to a nearby park. He watched people: an elderly man feeding birds, a young mother laughing with her child, a jogger pushing through exhaustion. Everyone seemed to be carrying their own quiet story. And suddenly, David understood something important. Purpose doesn't arrive as a grand announcement, it whispers. It waits patiently for the moment you finally listen. Over the following weeks, David made changes, not reckless ones, but honest ones. He reduced his hours. He started sharing his writing online. At first, only a few people read it. Then a few more. Messages began to arrive. "Your words made me feel less alone. I thought I was the only one who felt this way. Thank you for saying what I couldn't." David realized his purpose was never about titles or salaries. It was about connection, about helping others feel seen, understood, and hopeful. Months later, on another quiet morning, David sat with his coffee and watched the sunrise again. This time he smiled. He hadn't escaped responsibility. He had reclaimed himself. And in choosing himself that morning, when he finally paused, listened, and dared to be honest, he found something far more valuable than comfort. He found meaning. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more tales of hope and transformation. We'll see you next time.